All right, guys, welcome. Today, I want to talk about Christ has died and the astrotheological view of the the Bible. Excuse me while I adjust this down a little bit so you're eye level with me. So, okay, we're talking about astrotheology here, right? This is an astrotheological interpretation of the Bible. So, if you're not familiar with this, it's if you're very absolved into the story of Jesus, it may not make as much sense to you. Okay, but look, the story of, and I'm not trying to debunk the personal story of Jesus at all. I don't need to do that. Okay, but the story of Jesus, it follows. It's an analogy for two or possibly three things. Okay, one, the most obvious thing that the story of the New Testament tracks, again, it's an analogy of the sun through the zodiac signs, right? The 12 apostles are relate to the 12 zodiac signs. Jesus, the sun, is the sun. Wow, right? Mind blowing, right? I'm not gonna go about proving that today. That's not what this video is about. This is a step off video. Please excuse me. But um, what this is about the ages. Now, so the main analogy is that of the year, the year of it's the sun going through the signs, multiplying the fish in the sea, right? That's what the sun does. Multiplying the loaves, that represents the fall, or the time where the yeast harvest comes in and we make bread, right? That multiplies the loaves, right? It heals. The sun heals, right? It heals people. That's the vitamin D, right? This stuff is actually makes more sense. Is way more simpler than you think. So, but okay, so it tracks the year, right? Everything from the dying on the cross. The dying on the cross is the Southern Cross. All right, we're not going to get into that. So it tracks the year. It also tracks the astrological age of Pisces, guys. Okay, so, and to some degree, it sort of tracks the day. I'm not going to go into that and defend that. It's not a big one. So mainly the two analogies that they were trying to pass forward knowledge and understanding in is the New Testament as an analogy for the year, right? And the age. Today, when I say Christ has died in the title, I'm referring to the age. Okay. We are now into some debate the dates. We are now into the age of Aquarius, guys. We are in it. And if you can't see it, it's because you don't know anything about astrology. Okay, because you bought in the line that you should be blind sheep. And I understand that interpretation, but if you knew your astrology and you just knew the basics of what Aquarius represents and the energy of Aquarius, it would be difficult to look around today. And if you just knew that Satan is really Saturn, you would understand, and you knew that Saturn rules over Aquarius, it would be hard for you to not see it. Okay. And this is kind of the stuff I teach. Okay. We are in the age of Aquarius. Social network, everything is network connected. That's one of the main themes of Aquarius and the 11th house. Network connections. Just look at what's going on, right? Everything is becoming interconnected. But let's go back in time a little bit. Radio, roads, railroads, internet. Okay, I mean, even our money now is going to be on this sort of web, right? Where you can't destroy it just by dropping a bomb, right? So everything is going to be like that, interconnected, interwoven. Even our temperature, our home security, our devices, even our clothes. Pretty soon, even us, everything is going to be right in this thing, just as predicted. The mark of the beast, all that stuff, right? So, with that in mind, let's just take just a brief look at the Bible and the story of the Bible, I admit I have to brush up on this as I've been away from it from a bit, but we all know Jesus died on the cross, right? But that was near the end of the story. Of course, there was his resurrection, and that was not the end of the story, but the reason that's at the end, part of the reason that's put at the end of the story, though, guys, is that it's the end of the age, right? And that's why they talk about Christians being persecuted for their beliefs. And that's why. Okay, here's another part that makes sense, and I'm not attacking anybody, but this is why it makes sense that Jews are the one to kill Christ, because in this new age of Aquarius, which is ruled over by Saturn, okay, if you knew your correspondence between religions and planets, you would understand that Christians are aligned with Jupiter, Neptune type energy, and the sun. Judaism is aligned with Saturn. Unfortunately, I don't have this set up so I can show the web and surf the web. But if I was, I would show you the pictures of where Jews they have a ceremony or something where they have a big square, a big black square. There's another version of it where they wrap that leather and that square around. Anytime you see a black square, even including your television screen and your phone and your computer, a black cube or a black box, right? That like our game systems, right? It all represents Saturn. Okay, it's all very Saturnian. So understand that we're going in. So there is a Bible quote, and I'm sorry, I'm actually gonna have to pull this up. This is actually probably one of the most important parts of this. But in Mark, we talk about the water bearer. Go into the house of the water bearer. I'm going to pull up the quote. Mark 14, right? Mark 14, 13. So he sent two of his disciples, telling them, go into the city. A man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him. So Jesus sent just two of them into Jerusalem with the following instructions. As you go into the city, a man carrying a pitcher of water will meet you. Follow him. Okay. As he sent the two disciples, he said him go into the city and make. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. These are different interpretations. All right. That's 13. Say to the owner of the house, he enters. The teacher asks, where is my guest room where I may eat the Passover with my disciples? Right. That's Mark 14:14. He will show you a large room upstairs furnished. But let's go back. There's different versions and interpretations in, but basically the command from Jesus is to go within the house of the water bearer. The astrotheological understanding of the water bearer is that's the Aquarius. If you look at the symbol for Aquarius, it's literally a guy holding a thing of water and pouring out the water. Now, some say that's the water of knowledge, right? People say different things about that. But when we look at the Bible, again, there's so many correspondences that it's actually, when you see all the correspondences, and it makes so much sense, okay? My point, though, guys, is that so Christianity is a Jupiterian solar religion. That's the primary energy. That's the primary planetary energy of the age of Pisces. Okay? When we go into a new age, when we shift into a new age, guys, the energy changes dramatically. There's now a new Lord. I hate to tell you this, and don't freak out about it, because you kind of been held in delusion if you've been really too deep into the personal story of Jesus. But this new age is ruled over by Saturn. This age of Aquarius we're dawning into is ruled over by Saturn or Satan. Don't freak out, because this is like really important for you to know if you're a Christian. Again, and I do not need you to give up your personal Jesus. For all I know, the personal Jesus did exist. For all I know. I'm not here to debunk that. But I am here to show you the correspondences and the basic astrology, that if you had understood it, you would know what was coming. We all would have known what was coming. We would have, if we had known this, we wouldn't have been indoctrinating our children only into the personal Jesus. We would have been teaching our children about the astrology, about the coming new age, about all the temptations. Because guess what? Guess who's Saturn or Satan is ruling over this age. And what did I say earlier? The Jews, or Judaism, is the primary religion corresponding with Saturn. So age of Pisces is over, guys. That expansionary, dreamy, we dream of heaven, we dream, right? That expansionary Jupiterian. Jupiter is an expansion, that's a gas planet. Expansion, right? And even in your personal charts, right? Or charts of countries, even. We can see where something expands. Like someone who has a Jupiter in their first house has a big head. Someone with Jupiter in their hips, around their eighth house. So, I have big hips. I play hockey. Big, strong hips. Right? So even people study Elvis's chart. I forgot what he had. He had like I think first house, but he had he ate a lot. So he had a personality where he whatever. I'm not gonna worry about that. So Jupiter is expansionary, guys. But remember, so in Jesus, right? Zeus also is corresponded with Jupiter, guys. So, guys, this is connective stuff. You have to have a strong sense of pattern recognition, a strong sense of relating things, one thing to another thing. If you're mostly a process-oriented, straight line thinker, straight logic, you may have difficulty understanding this stuff. Okay, this is more of a connective. You have to understand your correspondences. So my point, guys, is Jesus, in terms of the story of the age, Christ has died. Okay, we are no longer in the Jupiterian, Neptunian, what I like to call the Neptunian delusion. Okay, it's over. And I mean, you should see that in the world. If you're a Christian, you should see this, right? If you don't see it, you're not paying attention, because these are not biblical times, are they? Look at all the temptations, everything from changing our sex to porn. Everything is just becoming available. Whatever you want, you can have it, right? Pretty soon it's going to be, you can just go in the VR and go wild and do whatever you want, right? You can hop on Grand Theft Auto and just kill some people and get a prostitute and do whatever you know what I'm saying? Like, look at what's going on. And guys, I hate to break it to you, but you need to know. People need to know. This is going to keep going, right? So, in terms of the story of the age, Christ has died. Okay? Not your personal Jesus. Just Jesus commanded you, when you see the Waterbury, when you go into town, the house, when you see the Waterbury, go into the house of the Waterbury. Often houses and mansions, in astrotheology, we understand houses and mansions are representative of zodiac signs. Okay? So when you see the water bearer, go into the house within. And that means go into that age. It doesn't mean don't be a Christian. Absolutely not. That's not at all what it means. It means be a Christian with the understanding there's a new Lord. Okay? And also, this is going to help you existentially if you've been confused about like what's going on in the world, the pandemic, the transgender stuff, and no offense to anyone who's transgender, but like I do a lot of research. I understand what's behind it. There's a very worldly thing behind it, right? Um, but when they say that Jews are the ones that kill Jesus, so whoever said that understood that at this time there's a shift, and therefore there's also a shift in who's in charge, like the people who are in charge. We're going from Rome and the Pisces, and then back in the age of Aries, then into the age of Pisces. Jesus is born, right? Christianity rules the day. Christians rule the day. It's mostly European peoples, but all peoples are involved, and religion itself expanded, right? Religion and ideology itself expanded as well. But now we're entering into Aquarius. Saturn or Satan is the ruler. And yes, Judaism and the Jewish people are now going to be in charge. And that is why you see what you see. It's when you understand the zodiac and you understand how the ages work, they go backwards. It's not the normal zodiac of Aries, Taurus. It goes backwards. It's precessional slippage. Even astronomers study this stuff. It's precessional slippage. It happens very, very slowly. What determines this is what is on the eastern horizon at the vernal equinox, right? There's a specific day and time. You can look it up. It's the exact point. That point slips a little tiny bit every single year, just a little tiny bit. And year by year, over around, I think it was 2,600 years, over that time, that precessional slippage moves and moves and moves, right? And that's why you see at the vernal equinox, you'll see Aquarius enter, a little bit, right? That's how we show we're in the new age. And it makes sense because now that energy is coming in at the springtime. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it off there. Thank you for enjoying my stream, but I don't mean to trigger anybody, any Christians or nothing, but Christians, we got to get the word. We got to get you out of only understanding the Bible from the personal story of Jesus. If anything, if you love the personal story, if you're into the personal story, if anything, astrotheology will validate your personal Jesus, because you'll say, wow, look at all the correspondences, right? Not only was this a real story of a man, but also look at how this matches reality. I mean, your mind will be blown if you study astrotheology. You do not need to give up your personal Jesus. I will tell you, though, that if you do it long enough, you'll start to say, I'm starting to see that maybe. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys. Christ has died, though, in terms of the age. Okay? He dies every year. It's no big deal. He's right out there giving me this light. That's the sun. Remember, Christianity is solar and Jupiterian. Okay? That benefic, expansionary, right? When you're praying and saying, God, give me more life, give me more love, give me more in my life. I want abundance, right? That's you asking Jupiter. You're trying to tune into Jupiter is what you're trying to do. Matter of fact, that's whatever you're praying for probably asked. If you knew your astrology, you probably could look up the astrology and see, wow, Jupiter's in this house, and I'm praying for actually the things of this house. You probably would find those correspondences happening if you knew your astrology. But you Christians out there, you don't know your astrology because you've been brainwashed into thinking astrology is evil, when in reality, it's like the code to understand what's going on in this world. Okay? All right. Thanks for listening. Tune in, subscribe, comments, get the word out, reciprocate in one way, shape, or form. Let me know what else you want to talk about. All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.